The sound of the Blackhawk's rotor blades was nothing new to the men flying toward the forward operations base. The FOB was nothing new either. The trip and their destination was par for the course for a soldier. However, Doc's mind wasn't on their travel. It was on his new team. His new team. He wasn't nervous about leading his first mission as team leader. Not having O or L on the mission was strange. Stranger than the additional 5 men crammed into the Blackhawk with them. 4 of the 5 born shifters, who were now mad dogs, had military experience, and Doc was grateful for that. He was also relieved he would be able to communicate with 4 of his new mad dog packmates when they were in wolf form. Unlike Hunter, who could telepathically speak to any mad dog regardless of their form, Doc couldn't. Doc couldn't help but be slightly envious of Hunter's new ability because as team leader, being able to talk to his team any time he needed to would only benefit them. Thinking about logistics of communicating with the team brought his mind back to one of the soldiers among them. Rowan sat in his desert camis and was combat ready. It was obvious this wasn't his first mission, and Doc didn't doubt the man's abilities, even though they had yet to execute a mission in the field together. No, it wasn't Rowan's combat competence that had Doc catching his gaze, resting on the born wolf time and time again. Not being able to feel Rowan's emotions because he wasn't a mad dog was like feeling a void in the Blackhawk. Doc was bothered by this, more than Rowan's lack of ability to communicate with any of the mad dogs when they were in wolf form. Rowan didn't display any emotion aside from mission focus. Still, if Doc had to guess, the mission wasn't the only thing on the wolf's mind. It was clear back at Camp Smoky that Rowan wanted to become a mad dog. It was just as clear that he hadn't because of his best friend, Chuck. Doc had to try really hard not to resent the civilians, since had the wolf not objected, Rowan would be pack right now. Rowan's gaze shifted from his unfocused stare at the side of the Blackhawk to glance at Doc. It was as if the wolf knew Doc had been contemplating his mad dog status, or lack thereof. Doc gave him an encouraging smile and nod before Rowan returned his focus to the unremarkable spot on the Blackhawk's cabin. Doc forced himself to inspect the rest of his team, his packmates. Duke, who was a mad dog even if he wasn't part of his pack, sat next to B and listened to the banter between B and M. H was bullshitting with Nick and Hunter, while Nick's husband, Geordie, commented occasionally. Gabe and Paul mirrored Rowan's focus. Doc wasn't surprised by the behavior any of the wolves displayed. Nick's previous packmates would eventually learn to relax like the rest of his team. It might take some time before their ingrained standard military behavior would shift, but it would happen, so Doc wasn't bothered or concerned. What did concern Doc was that his original Mad Dog teammates seemed to be giving him space. Doc wasn't sure if it was due to his new team leader position. He doubted that was the case, and they never treated O this way before a mission. Likely they were still adapting to the change in leadership and giving him space to formulate their plan of attack. O had been team leader and alpha for 58 years before Doc became a mad dog, so he didn't have to experience a change in leadership. Not only leadership, but to the pack structure. Regardless of how the team seemed to instantly and smoothly adjust back at Camp Smoky, their behavior in the Hawk told Doc they hadn't finished adjusting. Doc was still adjusting as well, so he totally understood that it would take all of them time to get used to him being the team leader and Pack Alpha. Just the thought of being Pack Alpha ignited his instinct to protect his pack mates. That in turn brought his thoughts back to the mission they were about to execute. The first mission he was to lead the team to a successful conclusion. So Doc forced himself to think tactically where his pack and team were concerned.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.